Prison is a wonderful place. Free food, affordable housing, recreational facilities, and of course, the 100-foot tall generator. Because today we're playing Frostpunk, the last autumn DLC, on the Nightmare difficulty Survivor mode, where we'll be building a massive generator from scratch using only the most creative labor. So on the advent of Frostpunk 2, welcome back to Frostpunk. The last time I played this game, we did the default scenario, a new home, and did a child labor only challenge, which is why now I want to actually do the DLC scenario, which is called The Last Autumn. Instead of trying to survive the cold with a generator, you're instead trying to build the generator. The temperature isn't an issue for most of the scenario, so the main thing you're fighting against is time. If you don't make enough progress on building the generator, you get fired and probably thrown in jail. We're going to do it on Survivor mode, which unlike the main scenario, A New Home, The Last Autumn is much more difficult. Progress is only saved on exiting the game, and there is no active pause. Getting into the scenario, you can see The Last Autumn. For Queen and Country, we are getting again a bunch of spiffy fellows who have been sent to build a generator in response to lowering temperatures globally. This scenario is so brutal, in fact, that as soon as I start it, if I do the wrong thing in the first about 20 seconds, I immediately lose the game. All right, so as soon as we get in, I need to immediately start collecting all of the materials that are around. So all these stacks are going to give us the basic beginning materials that we need to actually start building our base. The absolute most important thing to get up first is a workshop, which will allow us to start conducting research. The first research that we need is actually a sawmill, so we can employ some engineers, and then that'll start working. In terms of our first law, we also need to get gruel signed, which is essentially going to give us really crappy meals that nobody likes. At the bottom, we have our discontent, which if that gets too high, the entirety of the workers will strike and stop working. And motivation, which is essentially a modifier on people working and their work speed. If it gets too low, they work slower. If it gets really high, they work faster. The second thing we need is a medical post right over here because we have 90 homeless people at the start of the game, and I am not giving them homes anytime soon. So as soon as everybody starts working, that is amazing. Now I can go and build a second workshop over here. Our research rate is very, very important at the start of the game, as is assigning into another law, cocaine pills. I know that sounds bad. It is. It'll increase motivation whenever we feed people those drugs. And now that we get our first research done, that is excellent. Our second research needs to immediately be a forager's quarters because this is the only way to get food. Well, technically there's one other way, but right now this is the only way. The reason we wanted a sawmill first is because a sawmill is absolutely crucial to the start of the game because it collects wood so much faster than a normal structure. Another problem we're facing is that all of our people are starting to get hungry, which is not so much an issue because I can fix that pretty easily. I just need to build a cookhouse. Technically, what I can do is that my people are hungry right now. I don't care until they're starving, but as soon as they start starving, they will begin eating the raw food straight out of our stockpile, which is very, very bad. Raw food is much less efficient than any of the other types of food, so one person eating one raw food ration will essentially waste half the food we have. Our next law is going to be a chapel, which we can use to increase motivation. And of course, now we're gonna start using those beautiful cocaine pills, because, you know, it's like magic. I'm also gonna need to fulfill that promise of getting a bunch of shelter up here, which is not actually all that bad. We could just immediately throw down a couple of crappy tents. And now we also have a forager's quarters research, which is fantastic, because that is the next thing we need to start actually getting food. At the start of this challenge, food is the biggest concern. Everything else is kind of secondary, at least for right now. The next thing we want are docks, because those will allow us to ship resources in, resources that we can't normally get. Stuff like steel, piles of wood, and coal. Discontent is, you know, it's getting a little high. That's kind of bad, but hey, I fulfilled my promise, kinda. Our next law will be an evening service, which is an ability I can use on the chapel. And I will also be immediately making a group of foragers that I can send out on the world, which will allow us to start exploring. So at the beginning of the game, these foragers are the only people who can actually get food, and they, well, but we are already out of food. All right, we now have 13 starving people, which is obviously really, really bad. Low motivation is also going to decrease our efficiency by 30%. Well, look at that. The cocaine pills actually counterbalanced it. I can also turn them off, not like people are eating. Our scouts are going to get to the first area over here, and now they can go to the hunting grounds and try to get us food. Hopefully, these starving people don't die. If they do, it's kind of almost immediately a game loss anyways. But what I can do do is get this very first chapel up. You can see it can barely cover everybody in the radius, which is amazing. And now we get docks and begin researching, probably level 1 research, so we can unlock our tier 1 of all of our research stuff, including a fishing harbor, to actually get food. The people are also asking me for shelter, and I can pretty easily just give everyone shelter, which I will do for basically kind of farming motivation. And by building the chapel, now everybody is a little bit happier. Great, now we can find a small place to set up camp, and this will start sending us food caravans to our main colony. And we also just fulfilled the shelter promise, so you can see things doing really, really well. And if I actually had food, I could also do this evening service for more motivation. Right now, I just have to hope really, really, really badly that this food gets here before everyone starves. Okay, there we go. Oh, thank God. Normally, you know, a couple of people will die at the start of this if you're not really careful. There's also a little bit of RNG because the people have to go to here to get the food. And sometimes the starving people will sit all the ways in the corner and then decide, you know what? No. And then they die. Our next law will be exactly the thing you think it is. Radical treatment. Sure, discontent will rise, but you know, that's gonna happen a lot. Food is also now actually good, which is fantastic. And now we need to start doing the real game. In order to actually build the generator, we need to go into this generator construction tree, which is going to give us access to all of our parts. The profiles manufacturer is a building that allows us to start constructing the pieces of the generator, which we need. We also need to build a dock over here and staff it with some people. We could also then choose what resource we want the dock to start collecting. And I'll just choose steel for right now, since we do have a little bit of wood production in these sawmills. I'll also do a little bit of an evening service here to slightly increase that motivation. The 20 food rations isn't that bad right now. We do have a pretty steady source of food in the form of our foragers. As you can see, about every 24 hours, we get 80 raw food, which we can convert into 80 times, wait, over 2 times 5, 200. I can do math. My accounting degree is coming in clutch. Our next law will probably be a care house, which we don't really need all that badly right now, but it's just a nice thing to try and increase motivation. Because our laws are on a cooldown, we really just want to be signing laws as often as possible, because some of the better laws are what we get later. Because as you can see, there's only one law tree right now, but as we get into the later game, there is another. All right, so now that we got our first objective done, we can build the telegraph station, and this is the most important thing in the entire game. So by building the telegraph station over here, we can now contact London, which allows us to bring in more resources. We could bring in either workers, engineers, or steam cores. And the main thing we want right now is just tons and tons of workers, which is going to allow us to start building the generator shaft structure. I love me a big old shaft. As you can see over here, which costs 8 structural profiles, which is what we get from the profiles manufacturer. Our generator resources up here are structural profiles, steel composites, and steam exchangers, the things that we will build from all of the buildings in this tech tree. If we don't get enough progress on the generator done by essentially what is on schedule, so we could go over here and you can see we are 3 days ahead of schedule right now. We will not be for long. If we get too far behind schedule, we're fired and we lose. And we have 4 different tiers to actually get the generator done, and they get much, much harder. So our next law will be extra rations for the ill. I know that's a little out of character, but it's actually just really, really strong as an ability. It increases healing by some pretty ridiculous amount and doesn't really cost all that much food. On the right side, you can see our different caravans. We have the food coming in as well as the ship of the requested people. Over time, our logistical limit increases, which is what allows us to request more people, and also our profiles manufacturer just researched, so we could come over here and throw it in the center area right here. All right, so now that we have the profiles manufacturer done, we can start getting people to work in it. We'll get as many people as we can. It costs 25 wood to build one of these profiles. They are really expensive, and we need 8 of them to get started on this very first shaft structure. We are 4 days ahead of schedule, but don't let this fool you. As soon as we start to get behind, everything falls apart. So getting behind is not an option. Either everybody dies and we build the generator, or, well, you know, I don't have any other options than that. Ah, there it is. All right, the beginning of everything. Safety concerns. So if you thought it was just gonna be so easy as I build the thing and I try to stay on schedule, you would be wrong. What I have to do instead is try and improve safety. Improve safety. At every one of our workplaces, there is a safety level, and so I can click this to try and improve safety, which gives us access to another thing, which is the labor tree. We can't sign anything right now because we're still on cooldown, but the labor tree will allow us to start getting some of the more interesting abilities like 2 shifts. All right, I can come back over here and we're gonna order another 24 people, just smack them in there. We need a metric assload of people to actually finish construction of the generator. I believe it's something like 50 people can work on it at once, so we are always going to have less manpower than we need. All right, unfortunately, it looks like our hunting grounds got depleted, which is very bad. We do need to go find some more food sources, but we are trying to research a fishing harbor, which will generally alleviate that issue anyways. All right, so now that we have our 8 structural profiles, I can come over here and we can build the shaft structure. This is going to require tons of people to do, and also, you know, the safety is not very good. A dangerous safety level means lots of people will be falling ill, and there is a pretty decent risk of accidents, so I don't want people to work yet. And we also now have a fishing harbor, so I can come over here, and we only have 4 dock spots, unfortunately, but the fishing harbor is very, very good because it'll let us start getting a little bit more food. All right, now that our book of laws allows us to pass another law, we're gonna get a short shift. So now we can change the shift hours from 10 hours to only 8 hours, which will increase the safety level. Obviously, it's not ideal for the progress of the generator, but it is something we need at least as a compromise in the beginning of the game, because later in the game, oh baby. All right, so now that we can sign another law, and this is where the very, very important laws come in. Now guys, I think I just came up with the genius idea to double our productivity. Instead of working 1 shift, what if we all just work 2? It's genius. So now I could use a 24-hour shift, which is actually super amazing on our workshop over here. I won't get too much into the math of it, but basically the way the workshop works is only one is very, very efficient, and having a second one has diminishing returns. So having one that functions 24 hours a day is insanely good for research. As long as we staff our facilities with double the amount of people, we can have most of our facilities working double the amount of time. So remember how we were 4 days ahead of schedule? Yeah, now we're only 2. We are very rapidly losing time, which is, it's an unfortunate part of what we need to do in order to get this first half of the shaft structure completed. The progress is only 15%, and the reason we're doing it so slowly is, well, for a very good reason. Later in the game, safety will completely stop mattering, but right now it is important. All right, so going back into our labor tree, now we can get the good old shift work coordination. 2 shifts will require 25% less workers. So essentially, this sawmill, for example, requires 10 people to work, but if I move it to a 24-hour shift, now we are getting more than twice the efficiency for only 5 more people. Ah, great. Okay, the next event, which is toxic gases. So as if the general unsafeness of the generator wasn't bad enough, there is now a toxic gas meter. The higher the level of the toxic gas, the more dangerous the workplace is. So I have all my potential safety tools enacted right now, and it's still really, really dangerous. And now we can also get after-hours equipment maintenance, which is going to give an additional -1 in all of our workplaces. Okay, so now because I am doing a little thing called metagaming, I have gotten our safety all the ways up to safe by just stacking everything I can. So our employees are going to keep working. The shift should be ending relatively soon. Oh my god, what happened? Oh no, I had no idea this was going to... I knew this was going to happen. So this is a scripted event that always happens, but because we have safe working conditions, I can just immediately send the rescue team and nothing happens. Discontent will kind of rise, but you know, it's not that bad. It's pretty bad. So normally what would have happened is that we would have had to choose between blowing up and leaving something like 20 workers to die down there and stalling the construction. But by making sure we have a relatively safe working conditions by exactly that point in time, we don't really take any losses. Our scouts have also been exploring just about everything all over the map. They've gotten some steam cores, and the food isn't very important right now because I do have a harbor over here that is working 24 hours a day to destroy the environment and eradicate all the fish. Okay, so now this is the event I was hoping for, a construction site strike. So if we go back to the construction site, now we can see that a strike is going on. Oh no. By negotiating with the workers, I can give them a whole bunch of different things, but the most important one is the bathhouse. I wasn't signing into law specifically the bathhouse because then I can promise it to the people, which I was gonna give them anyway. Discontent will fall and everyone will start working. And now we get this event. On the left side, we can start siding with the workers and try and help them build the generator and, you know, make a worker tribunal, all that fun stuff. On the right side, however, is siding with the engineers, which allows us to get quite a bit goofier. So, of course, I'm going to side with the engineers, and they are going to give us a whole new piece of our labor tree up here, which is called the Factory Inspectorate. So now we can sign into law overseers. Yeah, that doesn't remind you of anything. And we'll even change our labor tree to look a lot more, you know, good. Great, so now we are working our people absolutely to the bone, and we are gonna be able to complete this first piece of the generator, and I think we're not really ahead of schedule at all. And just a little bit more, we should be good. Less than an hour to just finish this construction, and great, we're finished. The first part of the generator. The next part is we need to build 2 massive tower pumps below, which, surprise, surprise, is even more dangerous. It is going to require us to now start getting steam exchangers, which are something we get from other pieces of the tech tree. And we're also going to get news of an abandoned site, which is pretty great because now if I go into our map, we have a new explorable area over here. Our motivation is pretty bad. It's actually giving us a minus 30% modifier, which is, it's not very good. But on the whole, it really isn't the end of the world. And also we can get the Factory Inspectorate built over here, which is going to passively improve the safety of some of our workplaces. Oh, okay, great. I wasn't expecting that to work. We stumbled into a storehouse, signed for a bunch of steam cores. Normally in this event, your guys just get shot, but we somehow got the steam cores too, so I mean, I'll take that. All right, we're also about a day behind schedule, which is obviously very bad. We can start building the pressure valve right over here, but the toxic gases are pretty bad. All right, we're gonna try to get back on track over here by just shoving a ton of people into the factory. I mean, I've been doing that the whole time. And heading into our book of laws, we can continue down the labor tree, which will give us something beautiful called overseers, who will raise the efficiency in the nearby area, but also increase strike risk. Motivation is hitting a kind of rock bottom. It's pretty bad, but at this point, motivation doesn't actually matter. We're kind of getting past the point where it means anything. Sure, it's minus 30% on our efficiency, and also now we have a strike. Well, that's not good. The best I can do is promise them just slightly better working conditions and raising it above oh my god, it's at deadly? Okay, our people made it to Site 109, which is amazing because now we can take them to our camp. 12 whole engineers and a whole bunch of other resources is really amazing for our progress, especially because we are 2 days behind schedule and things are not looking pretty. All right, so now we can get the next level of our law, which is security outposts, a very, very good law, which lets us bring in, well, security outposts. Okay, so we need to make up a lot of time right now because we are 3 days behind schedule, so we're gonna have to work 24-hour shifts non-stop in order to finish this piece of the generator. And I could also use an overseer inspection to increase that motivation a bit. We have 5 amputees. Wait, can't I just send them back? Oh yeah, I can. There you go. And now we found some lost crates right over here. Finders keepers. Oh, I'm sure nobody needs these. So of course I'm going to take those crates that clearly belong to this cargo convoy over here and immediately leave. Look guys, I know you're all gonna die if I take your stuff, but you know, I'll get fired. And that's so bad. Oh no, oh god, I was not looking at that. So it looks like we had an accident. You know, some people just got absolutely mauled and it's because the level of safety is dangerous. Workers are striking, which is not the best. I actually should just promise better working conditions because I can immediately use a protective structure and then it should be okay. Okay, so our scouts have come back with our very legitimately obtained goods and I should be able to now build both of the tower pumps on the generator. I also don't really need these scouts anymore, so I can come over here and just straight up disband them. They're not doing anything for us right now, so they could, you know, be thrown into the generator. But perhaps more importantly, we can now get one. Oh, that wasn't the original picture. So if I go into our labor laws, now we have the ability to get the absolute best thing we want, a penal colony. So as soon as we sign this into law, now we can go over here to our telegraph station. I've been holding logistical limit for a reason, and we could start importing convicts. Convicts only cost 1 as compared to the 2 of our logistical limit, so I could import 85 convicts immediately. Now, is that a good idea? Not particularly. Am I going to do it anyway? Most definitely. The benefit of convicts is that they don't strike, but they only work within the security outpost radius, and we do need to start building them a bunch of penal colonies. We've also made up a bit of time. We're only 19 hours behind schedule, which is pretty fantastic. Mostly probably due to us stealing all that stuff, but yeah, you know, what can you do? Wait, I built a penal colony and motivation rises. I don't think that's how that works. Okay, so the first part of the generator is now done. Now we can just start immediately cramming people into these tower pumps over here. The factory inspectorate is super helpful because it is allowing us to just get so many more people in here with, well, it increases the safety, meaning that less people get sick and therefore we can have more people inside. Oh, and I wasn't paying attention. It looks like someone died. We need a way to dispose of the body. I'll do it later. Because in a couple of hours, we're going to have our 85 convicts arrive, and convicts are kind of scary. One of the downsides of using convicts is that if we don't have enough people manning these towers over here, the convicts will revolt and kill us. And I don't mean just cause some damage, they will just straight up kill me. And that's important. And here we are, 85 convicts. Oh dear God. So now what I can do is actually take off all my workers on this place and immediately throw in 75 convicts. They don't care about safety because they can't strike. As you can see, -9, only convicts assigned. And as you can see, our convict swarm is gonna come on over there and begin working the generator. Again, it is very problematic that we do need more overseers and more security outposts, because without enough security outposts, the convicts will revolt. And there we go. See, 3 convicts have already escaped. Oh good, now my engineers are asking us to pass the law strike busting. Meanwhile, a guy has a gun over there. This law is really good and I do want it. The thing is, strikes are not really going to be all that impactful for right now because we only have convicts working. Although it looks like they did strike over here, which is kind of annoying. I can try and offer them the rest of the day off, which is that's not good. A full day off, please? In any places where we have workers assigned, those are able to have strikes. Oh, and here's that cargo convoy. Are these yours? It appears the convoy is heading for Winterhome. It seems they've lost several crates on the way. Well, I mean, I already spent your stuff, so, sucks. Okay, and now the overseers want us to pass the 0 tolerance rule, which is roundups. I'm not gonna pass that right now because we do have some other things we need to do first, but, instead of just calling in convicts, we just turn 15 workers into convicts at any point. And we could just keep doing that over and over and over again. Oh, and here we go. It looks like we've got another incident. Yeah, that sounds like an incident. On the bright side, the only people down there are convicts. A lot of our people are about to get gravely injured. I don't know how many it's gonna be, but oh boy. As soon as this completes, it is actually not that bad. Oh, okay, no, never mind. It's bad. What I will do is go into my book of laws and get internal promotion, which is pretty amazing. It allows us to start promoting workers into engineers. So at the cost of 50 wood and 50 steel, we can just grab 5 workers and immediately promote them, which we need to make sure we don't die. Okay, it looks like people are starting to kick the bucket, which is not amazing. But again, on the bright side, they're mostly just convicts. So how are we doing on the generator progress? We are 5 hours ahead of schedule. Don't mind if I do. Oh my God, I realize what's happening. The workplace level is dangerous. I mean, I could use some protective structures to try and lower it back down, but it's fine. Level 3 gases. 8 more engineers also just arrived, which is amazing because now we can throw them into another security outpost and keep doing more research and all that fun stuff. I'm also gonna sign on site. Oh wait, I literally can't sign this. Motivation is too low. Hold on a second. Let's just do a little inspection and then I can come back here and now I can sign those on-site burials. Nice. My motivation is practically negative. Wow, all I needed to do is bury the dead bodies and my discontent went down massively. I didn't think it was that big a deal. I mean, there was a lot of dead bodies everywhere, but still. I have 7. Oh, I thought this was me losing the game or something, but apparently we're making progress. Okay, now we have to build the heart of the generator, which is essentially the hardest to build part. It's 25 steel composites, which is obviously very, very expensive, as well as a whole ton of structural profiles. And we've discovered another site, Site 120, so we can go and take a couple of our workers off any one of these places and recreate a group of foragers to come over here and check the workers' camp. All right, 25 more convicts, which is fantastic. A lot of people are dying. So as long as I don't employ workers in anywhere that is in this central area, strikes cannot happen. So basically, convicts are reserved for this spot, and workers could go basically, oh, wow, we are deforesting. And now that we're at the workers' camp, we can also come over here and escort the workers back to our camp. Okay, 50 more people have just arrived, which is a metric crop. We don't even have enough houses for all these people. Oh God, no. The convicts tried to riot. The criminals armed with tools and improvised weapons. We prevailed in the end, but the fight was long and bloody. We lost 5 overseers and 30 convicts. Well, it's a good thing I just got 50 more workers. Holy Christ, I didn't realize the working conditions were this bad. I mean, that's not really true. Well, on the bright side, I have so many workers from the worker camp over there that we're just throwing everybody everywhere to just do everything. That's a strange way to phrase that, but sure. I have 78 sick people. I don't even know how I am going to treat everybody. The wretched Irish. What are they talking about? Sure, motivation will fall. Go ahead, motivation. Go down further. We are losing so many people. I mean, on the bright side, it's actually contributing to me treating the sick people because they're dying. And now people are getting anxious. So what better way to stop someone from being anxious than to beat the crap out of them? All right, we're just gonna get strike busting right now, which is gonna, I think it'll raise discontent a little bit, but strikes are now a problem of the past because we just beat everybody up. Oh, and now we're getting another very big event, which is the first snow. So the temperature is now going to start decreasing. And while that doesn't matter right now, you can see that even though the temperature is going down, our people are not going to get sick. But if you look a little further, you're gonna see it goes down again. And then it's gonna do that again, and again, and again. So we need to complete this generator as fast as possible. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I had a healthcare promise. Well, I mean, that's not that bad. That's, okay, I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, on the bright side, motivation can't fall, strike risk doesn't matter, and the people are now gonna riot, which is why I'm gonna use lethal force to pacify them. Look at that, discontent went down. We only lost 3 people. This is getting very, very bad. Okay, and now we get the big news. In 12 days, the sea is going to freeze, which means all shipments are going to cease in 10 days. 6 days after that is when we're going to be evacuated. So all of these docks here are going to stop working very, very soon, which means we need to collect as many resources as we can from all of them, and then just hope. So now I'm gonna also get roundups, which will allow us to just straight up grab 15 random workers and turn them into convicts. Try this and you'll have blood on your hands. Oh, I know, that's the point. In order to not freeze to death, we do actually gain a new technology tree over here, which is gonna give us insulation and braziers, which will allow us to use coal. So we need to be extremely careful to make sure to either bum rush to completion of the generator very, very quickly, and I think we're actually behind. Yes, we're about 22 hours behind schedule, which is very bad. But there's also not really much we can do until we get the last of our steel composites done. And people need to stop dying. Oh my God. I just keep hearing the ding ding dong of everyone being dead. Okay, so this is what I've been waiting for. Now we have enough structural composites that I should be able to come over here and build the core. So as soon as we build the core, this toxicity level will be gone. Unfortunately, building the core is obviously super duper unsafe, which is why we have convicts. 37 more. Okay, that might be a little much. There are not enough overseers. Convicts can start a riot. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Oh God, okay, another accident. Well, I mean, I have enough people to replace this, which is fine. The discontent is now almost maxed out again. There's a high risk of falling ill, a massive risk of deadly accidents. Oh my God, I don't even know what I can do here. Everything is extremely bad. There's actually a fire danger right now. I need 5 steel composites. I don't know if I'll get that many. I'm not really doing so great on the steel front. You know what I could use? More convicts. All right, 30 more convicts have just arrived, which is amazing because we are losing convicts like flies. What I can do though is sign into law the very last law. servitude. So, up until now, we've been running a pretty fair penal colony, and now we could multiply the efficiency of workplaces employing only convicts by 2. 200% work speed at, the very, very low cost of decreasing the safety by like 3 ratings. Okay, so now we have the Panopticon, and I know this might look bad, but as soon as I turn this on, safety will be lowered by 3, which means, all right, we've been working on safety procedures. Not anymore, we aren't. 24-hour shift immediately, and then I will now throw absolutely everyone to work in the core. This number is about to skyrocket. Also, we have 2 homeless people, but I'm not even gonna work. Look at that, because they died. Another convict riot was put down. See? Good. And now I only have 51 convicts. Oh God, that's not good. If we have too few overseers, you can see there are far too few overseers. Convicts could start a riot and kill us all. That's not very good. You know what you guys need? Another security outpost. And better yet, I could use Roundup to immediately just grab a bunch of people. Resistance? Oh, no. This isn't gonna matter. Sure, discontent will skyrocket, but that's a bunch more convicts I can now throw into the network. The danger level is like -7. We're actually about a day behind schedule, which is very unfortunate, but you can see just how fast we are building the generator. It is crazy. And whoa, what's happening? Is this another accident perchance? Well, on the bright side, I do have fire dampeners that I did use to completely put them out, which means we get to immediately put people back to work. Well, this does seem like the perfect time to import another 47 convicts. I don't think that's a good idea, but I also can't stop myself from doing it. It's just too tempting. And that's not good. It's gonna start getting really cold now. The support frame and the generator are gonna start being really cold. Luckily, the employees they're not doing so hot anyways. All right, great. So the core is done, which is fantastic. That means that we can move on to the support frame, which the convict should get done relatively quickly. Look at the progress time. We used to be a day behind schedule. Now we're a day ahead of schedule in like a 24-hour span. That's all it took. People are hungry. Oh, that's okay. That's kind of bad. We actually need to do something about that, because that one's not really workable. So I will probably use my scouts to go try and farm a little bit more fish over here. We have our fishing harbor that's still working. Oh, that's not good. The convicts could start a riot and kill us all. Well, to solve that, I can actually get something called rationalized healthcare. So now, instead of actually treating the convicts, we just dump them in the generator, because I actually need to increase the casualties of my convicts massively. Great, so now the 3rd layer is done, which means we can start working on the hull, and the hull is the last mandatory part of the generator. We are 3 days ahead of schedule, and we need so many steam exchangers and steel composites to get these things done. It also means that the toxic danger is over, which actually doesn't change anything now that I think about it, because the Panopticon gives a -3 modifier, which is basically the same thing. London is also rising into chaos, which is not great. I don't know when we're gonna get our last order from the telegraph station. I kind of forgot what day we need to have it done by. Great, people are starting rumors about what's going on in this situation. Discontent's gonna rise greatly, but we have something called guns, and that prevents them from leaving. Actually, what I just realized is I can use forced labor, and we still have safe working conditions. I have no idea how that's possible. Wait, the hungry were fed? I didn't even know I promised that. It really goes to show what I've been paying attention to, and it's literally just building the generator. Okay, so I have all 50 of my steam exchangers now, so we can move on to trying to finish all of our steel composites. We need about 20 of those, and then we need to actually build the generator, which is kind of the big bad. I'm gonna import another 67 convicts, because I mean, we have lost so many. All right, the cold is gonna go down another level, which is, okay, now it's starting to get questionable. People are actually beginning to freeze on the generator area, which is not great. Now people want to actually leave the camp. Oh, that's not happening at all. Discontent is gonna rise, but I mean, discontent, schmiscontent. We can also start building 1 of 2 of the thermal hulls over here, which is great news. It is pretty chilly, so people are gonna maybe start to get sick, but it's not the end of the world. Wait, a convict riot was put down? We lost 49 people. Oh God, there's still not enough engineers in the towers. I'm starting to just unstaff my medical posts in order to redirect. Okay, there we go. Whoo! Woo! We're safe. Okay, so there is something I could build in my book of laws, which is actually very good. It's called class segregation, which will allow me to build some engineers lodges. The reason these are so good is because they provide a ton of warmth, and well, our people are not looking so good on that front. I haven't built a single thing to make us any warmer. We're working at 162% speed right now. Thermal hole number 1 is getting completed. It should be done in time. Oh, that's not good. This thing can no longer send help, and all of our upgraded docks are no longer going to function. As a matter of fact, our fishing harbor is also going to stop functioning very soon. Okay, we have the engineers lodges done, which is great. You can see they give +3 building insulation as opposed to the +1 over here. So they are very, very good. Homes are getting cold, and there's no chance I could heat any of them. And also, this is the very last ship of the game. Well, besides the one that's gonna rescue us in about 8 days. People are trying to, assumedly, they're gonna try to get out. How many people are gonna leave? 15%? Oh, I don't think so. Discontent's gonna rise greatly. What are you gonna do? Fight me? Allegedly, yes. On the bright side, this does open up an old wreck over here that we can collect for 1,000 extra steel, which is very, very good. But all of these docks are no longer going to function, as well as the fishing harbor as well. This is the reason that I didn't want to get most of the food places all around. So now we still have a herd of reindeer, a mountain lake, and this other lake full of fish that we can still exploit to get us food. And now we can build the last section of the thermal hole right over there. If we can get this thing done, we will have at least completed the generator. Then we just have to survive until day 45. All right, the convicts can't start a riot to kill us, and we are working at 113%, 125% efficiency. Then we could just use an overseer's inspection, try and increase that motivation a little bit. A chapel service, maybe? Oh, there we go. 100 and... Okay, never mind. It just fell by like 30% just from daily loss. We are alone. So now we just need to survive until day 45, which is when an icebreaker is gonna come through the ice. Oh, well, that's kind of self-explanatory, the name, and rescue us, as well as take the completed generator by that point. So we do have only a couple of days to finish the generator. Discontent keeps rising the global strike risk, but it doesn't matter at all because whenever they try and leave, I just use my guards. Power hungry, people are worried about food shortages. We'll just punish the people who are complaining, because why not? Look at that, motivation is going down. There's no motivation. People are also angry at the food quality. Again, I'm not addressing anything. My discontent can get as high as I like because no one can stop me. The sick need treatment. No, I don't think they do. We have had so many rebellions at this point. How many convicts do I have? I only have 74? Wait, this is actually getting close. Where are all my convicts working? What happened to everybody? Have I just been letting all my convicts die haphazardly? We know the answer to that question, but still. Well, I do have some unemployed workers, so I can go to my guard tower over here and let's round them on up. 15 more convicts straight into the generator. We just need to get this completed over everything else. If this thing is done, we're okay. As long as some of our people survive to the end, that's what matters. And yeah, there's a lot of people who are not doing the surviving part. People are getting frostbite. That really doesn't surprise me in the slightest. That does mean I should probably start to get some of these braziers over here because they are going to be providing a whole lot of warmth. Also, apparently my overseers have now turned to flagellation. They claim that through this public penance, you know what? You do you. Okay, the convicts are dying so quickly. We got more of them. See, I need to just continuously be replacing them over here. Oh, did we get another accident? Freezing homes? I don't care. Why are we working at 0% efficiency here? Oh, wait, I think this place is physically too cold to actually function. I didn't even think that was possible. Okay, yeah, I think it was literally just the weather and the fact that people cannot physically work this job because it is too cold, but we are done. The generator is completed and the game, okay, almost crashed there. Ooh, so what this means is we did it. Great. Motivation will rise greatly, which is fantastic. That's what you consider greatly. So now all we need to do is survive until day 45. If we can do that, we will maybe probably, hopefully win. In the meantime, what I need to do is basically spend my convicts trying to collect as much as I can. We serve the Empire. The icebreaker's on its way. It should arrive to evacuate you soon. I hope so. Oh no, there's far few. Oh god, oh god. Okay, it looks like the convicts can actually kill us at this point. There's quite a few of them. Now this really does beg the question of, okay, look at that. The work safety is dangerous here. Sure, start building structural profiles. I don't care. Also, turn on rationalized healthcare. They don't need 129 sick. I need to start offloading convicts, and there's no other way to do that than, well, you know, for them to die. So while I don't need these structural profiles literally at all, I just need my safety level to be low. Actually, wait, I could just depower the factory inspectorate as well, and there we go. Now it's down to deadly. Good work. Oh yeah, now that so many people have died, I can sign comfortable quarters into being because, well, I mean, hey, all these houses work somehow. Appreciated, boss. The crowding would start to get to me. What crowding? We lost like 100 people. Oh, is there another accident? Please tell me there was another accident. Yes, there was. Excellent work. As long as the convicts are dying really quickly because we need them to, or they will kill us. A crazed preacher. We built this Tower of Babel against God our Lord. Can we? Oh, we gained one convict. Okie dokie. Do you want to build me structural profiles? Cause I think you do. Actually, I realized the even better place to work my convicts is collecting steel because it is so cold. Fortunately, we do actually have a ton of food, which is very, very nice. We can get a little bit more wood over here and start dismantling as well some of these unnecessary docks. Frozen, 3 people did not show up for work. What work? I don't even know what we're doing anymore. The only people who are working are convicts, and we're working them here. All right, well, now all of my actual people are starting to freeze, which is sort of bad, I think. The game is forcing me, I'm forcing me to build sort of like a secondary level over here. There we go. We can expand the heating radius a tiny bit. So now we can put just a couple of houses over here because we do need some people to live. A couple, probably. Oh, the people are furious again. Okay, Delta, can you keep count of how many times this has happened? I don't know how many people I've beat to death just keeping myself alive, but it's, you know, it's about as many as I would have expected, to be honest. All right, we've researched improved heaters, which is pretty fantastic. It means that we can now start to, well, I mean, my engineer's lodges are actually relatively livable. Gotta cut them all. Wait, what? Our wood is low. Well, that is why I did a little bit of a trick, and with these structural profiles, so because we don't have that much wood storage, I could just store it in the form of building structural profiles, and now I can just dismantle all the constructions and get all the wood back. Basically, I'm kind of a genius. There are only 16 convicts left. I'm trying to find where all of them actually are so I can keep working them in different places to try and get rid of them. This one convict over here has been gathering steel for so long. Who are you? What's your name? Your name is G. Okay, you're G11. G11 is just refusing to die despite the fact that the temperature is now freezing. He's going back to work. Who is this man? Well, we have G11, 45, and 52. I don't know if they're gonna survive. Can they somehow okay, they can. I think the game is bugged on this front, and that we have literally 2 convicts, and they are just working to collect steel in negative 60 degrees outside with no clothes, and they're somehow able to threaten the entirety of our colony. We have 1 idle convict. You, Mr. 52. Very high risk of falling. Okay, look. The place you work and the place you sleep are almost equally as cold. He's hungry, he's sick, and he only has to survive about a day more until he survives. He's single-handedly still pulling in 0.6 steel per hour. And apparently someone just died to polar bears. That's cool. I'm actually kind of rooting for Mr. G52 right now. I mean, as soon as the temperature raises again, he's gonna live. Oh. Wait, he's alive. He's alive. He just went to the care house. Oh my God, he found a way around what I was doing. I literally have prohibited their medical care, but he figured out a way around it and just went straight to the care house. And just like that, the temperature is going to now rise. I rise to negative 20, which is not I mean, that's still not very good. Now the icebreaker has come and has basically paved us a way through, as well as taken the generator. We have prevailed. While your crew retreats to their quarters, you recall that convicts lashed by the freezing wind are headed to another project aboard a prison ship. There's only one guy, and they decided to transfer him all the ways over to another place because he's just such a Chad. Now we get to enjoy the little cute time lapse of our colony. Oh geez, I could just see the toxic gas every 3 days everywhere. 100 dead workers, 112, 283 dead convicts. Holy gee, wait, I'm pretty sure some of those convicts were originally workers. Was this price just? I mean, probably. It could have been worse. Chances of survival of the new colony, 4. So there are actually some optional upgrades that we could have gotten for the generator at the end. The problem was we just didn't have enough people or enough time to do it, but we did actually complete the generality of the last autumn. Frostpunk 2 is coming out later this year, and I am super excited to play that. But it was really nice going back to the last autumn, the DLC scenario for Frostpunk, because I think it's really, really unique, even comparatively to the main one. Hopefully Frostpunk 2 is even just a fraction of as good as Frostpunk 1. I really hope I don't eat my words when it comes out, but it looks like it's pretty good so far. But in any case, thank you for watching, and I will see ya.